Well, today's date is the 19th July 2017, and since my last dated video, I have been sick in bed, so some days have passed since I've been able to do a video. I'm still not 100%, but I'm getting back there. So my attempt to make a video every day failed already, but today I would just like to talk about the green in my pool. Back in when the health department actually came to see my yard, they didn't really mention anything to me about the pool and what might be causing it to go green. In fact, they pretty much denied everything. But I knew that it was something coming from the tick site that was making it go green. And since they had moved the fertilisation or the fertilising soil and company closer to my fence line, and that it was falling all over my home, I naturally assumed that that's what was doing it. However, they told me that that would be impossible. Since then, I've only just found out that that isn't. But, you know, back in 2001, I actually found an article back here. It says toxic waste found in fertilizers. And if you remember, I spoke about the heavy metals that were found in my window ledge, and they said we don't know where those levels of lead would have come from. Well, here it says heavy metal. This is dated, I'll just read it. Washington, D.C., May the 7th, 2001. Americans are unknowingly purchasing fertilizers made from industrial toxic waste, turning farms and gardens into dumping grounds for waste, charges a new report. The report lists 20 fertilizers that contain levels of toxic metals that exceed limits set on wastes sent to public landfills. Now you have to remember that these levels exceed the limits set on wastes sent to public landfill. But that's where they're getting the fertiliser from. They're making it out of the rubbish that you would send to landfill. They put it in a machine. It's like a gold panner, and it just makes the waste smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. That's what they call fertiliser. Heavy metals in fertilisers can wash into nearby waterways, contaminating drinking water and harming wildlife. It says here, a total of 22 toxic metals were found in the fertiliser products, including arsenic and lead. Okay. Fertiliser products become contaminated when manufacturers buy toxic waste from industrial fertiliser facilities to obtain low-cost plant nutrients such as zinc or iron. Such industrial wastes are often contaminated with persistent toxic chemicals, including heavy metals and dioxins. So these fertilisers were found to contain arsenic, lead, mercury, cadmium and chromium, among other toxic metals, and the toxic chemical dioxin. Many of these contaminants are known to cause cancer, reproductive and developmental toxicity, or other serious health effects. Lead, mercury, cadmium and dioxin are known to accumulate in the fatty tissues of animals and humans. So it goes on there, you know, to say about they are that the heavy metals can accumulate in crops and create a danger to human health. And that they're commonly found in recycled wastes, which is exactly where Perth gets its fertilisers from when you're talking about the waste being sent to landfill in Mirrabooka at the time. So if you have a look on the EPA website now, it talks about harmful algal blooms are a major environmental problem. And it says here that they can be toxic and you should keep people and pets away from water that is green, scummy or smells bad. Pretty much we did. We left the house, but we left the green mess there. It says here that harmful algal blooms are overgrowth of algae in water. Some produce dangerous toxins and that they can produce extremely dangerous toxins that can sicken or kill people and animals. What causes these blooms, it says? Nutrients, nitrogen or phosphorus. Where do you find nitrogen and phosphorus? Potting mix. So you click on here, learn where nutrient pollution comes from. So just make sure it comes from excess fertiliser. It's the number one thing. And animal manure. Stormwater. So when it falls onto our hard surfaces like rooftops, sidewalks and roads, it carries pollutants into our local waterways. Well, it was all over my house. Wastewater. Obviously, sewer and septic systems. Well, we didn't have any sewage or septic waste landing in my pool or around it, so that wouldn't have been it. Fossil fuels, no. And it's got in and around the home. Fertilizers, yard and pet waste, certain soaps and detergent. We weren't using those in the pool. So the only thing that I can think of that would have turned my pool green was the fertilizer that Soils Ain't Soils were producing. Now, when we decided that we were going to sue the tip site, you'll see here that it's, and I'll just show you that page here from EPA as well. These are the sources and solutions. The EPA website actually states that. I don't know if you can see that. I'll actually take a picture of it when I'm finished to pop it on, and I'll photocopy these as well. But it says here, a family are suing the state government and the City of Stirling and two big Perth companies over health. Problems they claim were from a suburban tip. Well, they were. The written names as responders: Soil and Garden Suppliers, a Pollock family company, with embattled earth-moving tycoon Kevin Pollock as director, and Garden and Paving Group Atlas. It also names the State of WA Planning and Housing Commission. The site is used as a sorting and landfill site for the City of Stirling waste. It is understood it is now used to separate organic waste from inert waste before it is trucked to other tips. Well, that's to Kalingari. It wasn't taken to another tip, but up to Kalingari to be made into fertiliser. And the way they made it into fertiliser was just to empty it out and let it dry out. Soil and Garden Suppliers operated a soil mixing operation on the site at the time the Solomon family lived nearby in 1999. They claimed that they had unexpected health problems, including viral infections, asthma, gastro rashes, ear and nose and throat infections. Okay. The time Miss Solomon said her property was constantly covered with dust from the site. Yesterday, she said she was forced to leave Perth after she became sensitive to chemicals. She could no longer use most deodorants, fragrances and soaps. Shrinker and Solomon also suffered and were homeschooled largely to avoid exposure to chemicals. I had to get away from the city because it was making me ill, she said. I was losing muscle control while I was driving, becoming really spacey on the road and things like that. So in April 1999, Atlas's $20 million waste processing plant on the site was shut down temporarily after the Department of Environmental Protection insisted that the company comply with its licence. Well, it wasn't even working, you know. Atlas's licence allowed it to dump 95% or exceeded all their waste, and it wasn't very good anyway. Atlas collects City of Stirling waste and now uses the tip at Tamala Park, which is just not that far that way, and organic waste is sent to the farm in Kalingari. And of course, they denied any wrongdoing or pollution or causing any harm to my property ever. So that's it. There were other articles, but obviously I didn't save them. But that's it. So our pool turned green. Algal blooms are caused because of fertiliser. The pool only turned green when they moved the tipping of the blending, soil blending operation from one side of the tip to my side. So when they moved it and they were still blending, all the crap was landing on my pool and turning it green and made us sick and the gas, and the combination of everything that was going on in that site, they had opened up cells, gas cells, because they wanted to, they'd done something, and they had to reopen the tip or something. They had to, they went too high, that's right. They dumped rubbish too high, and so they had to remove all the old rubbish. So as they're digging into the old, what they call the cells, the smell was excruciating in the area. The smell was so bad, and while they're disturbing, where they've capped it all, while they're disturbing it all and then recapping it all the gas is just going everywhere. So between the gas and the failure of location of a soil blending house near housing, that's what's ruined my property, that's what's ruined my house. It's ill management of that site and where they put the houses. I don't care who was first, because that's always been their argument, but we were here first. Doesn't mean you manage your business badly. You know, you should have known if you're going to blend soil that it can be carried in the air. And I'm quite sure there are regulations on how close you can have a soil blending operation to next to a house. And I complained about it. You got fined $20,000 for it. The DEP would not have fined you if there was no problem, but they did. And that is what caused our problem. We got, toxic fertilisers and toxic waste, breathing it in, landing all over your body. That's what caused our problem. We deserve to be compensated for that. Absolutely. Quicker than 10 years of nothing, because that's what happened. 10 years of nothing, them saying, oh, we're going to go all the way, and the solicitor that I had not pushing that point. I don't know what happened there, but after 10 years, they must have been waiting for me to die. I'm still sick. I'm still affected. I still have these health conditions. I'm still intolerant to mould. I'm still allergic to fertilisers, which is one of the first things that I actually became intolerant to. The first thing I ever smelled really badly, my heightened sense of smell, was to fertilisers, so that was my trigger. That is what caused my problem. My nose told me. And once you become allergic to a chemical with MCS, you become allergic to multiple chemicals, and that's why it's called MCS. So I'm just going to upload that today. And we'll see how we go over the next few days, see if I remain well enough to continue going through my paperwork and uploading my evidence. So fertilisers are toxic. We all know. There are warnings on the side of the bags that you buy. It says do not breathe in the mists. Wear gloves and a mask when you're handling potting mix. And that's potting mix made from green waste. We're talking about potting mix that was made from what you put in your bin. We're talking about dirty nappies, feces, bacteria, old food, whatever you can think of that people put in their rubbish bins. That's what we were dealing with as far as being made on that site. And then there is the blending of green waste, dirt, and different manures, that they would be blending at soil land. So there were two different things going on. The combination of them, extremely toxic. Of course, I didn't know that in 1997 and 1998. I had never researched potting mix in my life. I had never researched fertilisers in my life. I had never researched MCS. I didn't know anything. All I knew is that my house was being covered in rubbish and crap and smells, and my kids got sick. That's all I knew. And we were completely healthy before we moved in there. Completely healthy. And for a short time after we moved in as well. It wasn't until they moved that soil blending operation over and started digging up those cells That's when everything went haywire. I know prior to us moving in, though, however, other people were complaining that they were feeling unwell, and other people were complaining of the smell in the area way before we moved in, and how it spoilt their lives, how it spoilt their social life, how it spoilt their entertaining people in their house, how it spoilt their livelihood, how the smell made them feel bad, you know, whether it caused an illness or not, it had an impact on their health and well-being. Just their mindset, you know. Nobody wants to sit in a paddock full of feces and smell it all day and think it's a great place to live. Nobody.